Alright, hello boys and girls, moms and dads, welcome to HeroesMart Academy. This is 5th grade social studies, week number 29. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about the concept of free enterprise, or what you can call market economy, or competitive economy, which is literally the way the United States economy actually works. So in the United States, businesses operate in a competitive environment and largely free of the state's control. In other words, the government doesn't really care about it. Business operations are run by private entities that are typically trying to meet the needs of Americans or their customers. The government doesn't control where you work or what type of jobs you do. The choice belongs to the citizens of the United States. Alright, grievances of unfair taxation that spurred the American Revolution from Britain contributed to the development of free enterprise economy. So if you remember, what actually spurred the founding fathers from separating from Great Britain was excessive government control, in the terms of the King of England trying to levy taxes on the colonies, and several rounds of injustices that they went through. And so it's not going to be out of reason to believe that the way the United States economy works right now will take its premise from that particular grievance, or a couple of grievances that the founding fathers endured from the cruel oppression of Great Britain back in the 1600s. So that's the reason the government is largely detached right now from economic activities all around the nation. You know, they believe in the free enterprise, market economy kind of a system. So the system of operation is sometimes called market economy. Financial decisions such as investments and distribution, production are all guided by forces of demand and supply. So the law of supply and demand states that the more the demand for a product, the lower the supply, and the more scarce the supply is, the product is going to get. So then what's the meaning of scarcity then, or what we can call paucity? Well, scarcity occurs when the demand for a product is more than its supply. But there are two major types of scarcities. There is something called relative scarcity, and then there's another one called absolute scarcity. Now, relative scarcity occurs because demand is more than supply, but the product is available in abundance, but production rate is kind of slower than demand. So, for example, bottled water. Well, there's going to be water all over the planet, but the packaging and the distribution of water, the packaging of our water, may not catch up with the supply. So if there's some kind of scarcity of bottled water, that's not an absolute scarcity, that is a relative scarcity. But then at other times there may be absolute scarcities, and that occurs because of a limited supply of a certain product in nature, and demand outpaces the supply as a result of that. An example is going to be crude oil. So ultimately the world's going to be running low on crude oil, not because we do not have enough production centers, it's just because the resource is limited in the planet. So if there's scarcity of crude oil, it's going to be an absolute scarcity, and that's going to contrast with relative scarcity that we talked about before. Alright, so let's talk about the pattern of work and economic activities. So as economic activities shifted in the United States, so did the works and jobs that people do. Factors that have contributed to the growth of the United States economy include things like need for transportation, need to protect the climate, mass production, communication and technology. All these have contributed to the kind of works that people do right now in the United States. Okay, so back in the 1800s, most of the United States was agrarian. People lived and worked on farms. They grew cotton, and they were in cotton plantations. But since the Industrial Revolution, most of the United States has become industrialized. Most people now make a living by working in offices and in various sectors of the economy that are driven by technology. And notable industries will include things like communication, oil and gas, the internet, healthcare, professional services, utilities, and the list goes on and on. Now, how geographical factors have influenced the location of economic activities in the United States? Locations that are close to the Gulf of Mexico witness a rise in oil and gas. So, for example, in the state of Texas, you are going to see major oil corporations. You're not going to see a lot of them in Nevada or Washington. You're going to see them right here in Texas. Another thing is going to be, for example, Silicon Valley is located in California because there is a lot of silicon over there. So you have technology companies who rely on silicon chip manufacturers getting close to Silicon Valley because they could find their raw materials over there. What about immigration? So immigration and migration and limited resources have had impact on economic development in the United States. Millions of people migrated to the United States in search of work, education, research opportunities, and subsequently the economy ballooned because of that. Infrastructure has grown because of that. What about impact on mass production and specialization? Division of labor. Industrial revolution spurred an era of mass production. Manual labor was replaced by manufacturing and automation. All right, so these are some of the things that you may want to take a look at, and please read these points together with your child. Moms and dads, please go ahead and do that. All right, and to help you do that, you can do this homework over here. Describe some factors that have contributed to the growth of the United States economy over the years. All right, John chapter 14 and in verse 2. Can you imagine what would happen if nothing was scarce? Well, guess what? That is the atmosphere of heaven. Do you plan on being there? Because nothing is going to be scarce in heaven. Everything is going to be abundant. I pray you make it over there by believing in Jesus Christ, by the grace of God. All right, so that's what I've got for you today, boys and girls. Remember, God cares about you, and so do we. Bye-bye.
I'll be your hero's buddy, and as you study with HeroesMart